ModernPaganTV is dedicated to education about modern pagan religions and is committed to the protection, welfare, and guardianship of the rights of all people to worship as their hearts and minds dictate. Modern Pagan TV considers education of the non-pagan public and of our own world community about pagan religions to be of paramount importance and encourages open dialogue across all platforms with the understanding that all voices have an equal right to be heard. Modern Pagan TV encourages participation in multiple spiritual events as the tradition and the individual deems appropriate and maintains that courtesy and open-mindedness and not denigration are paramount to any discussion. So sit back or join in. Modern Pagan TV is streaming live.
The pitch got higher, all the drums went out to the edge, and it got higher, and it got loud, and the girls were out screaming and, shrieking and dancing. And when it got to this peak, it just stopped, dead silence. It was beautiful.
Good evening and happy Lupercalia.
And Valentine's Day to you.
Okay, well, if we want to do the old stuff, it's Lupercalia, though.
Yeah, I think you should do that. So I'm Laura McKenzie.
And I'm Drake.
And happy whatever you just said.
Lupercalia. It's an old Roman holiday. It was celebrated at this time of year. It started on the 13th. It started yesterday. It would go for 3 days. Yesterday, the Vestal virgins would go out and they would bake cakes and they would scorch some of them and they would put them in these urns, and the people would pull them out, and the ones that had the scorched cakes either had to go and sacrifice a goat or they had to go and do something at one of the. There's a whole lot of weird stuff about it. It
was Roman. So.
Well, yeah, it was Roman, and it was a celebration of the wolf that nurtured Romulus and Remus, because that's the looper part, the loopy part.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a time for the sacred prostitutes to roam the street, because in ancient Rome they were known as Lupercals. They were called she-wolves, the prostitutes. So it's like there was a whole thing about love and all the other stuff. And of course later, when the Christians decided that they couldn't possibly, because they still celebrated this up to the 5th century, and they decided that they had to put some saint's day on there so they could purify it. So that's where St. Valentine
but
came around.
They kept the prostitutes, because for a long part of Catholic history, prostitution was considered a necessary evil.
Yep, it's like one of those things.
Yeah.
If you had to have an outlet, So happy Lupercalia and Valentine's Day to all of you guys.
Yeah. All right. So good.
What do we got tonight?
Oh, we have wonderful stuff tonight. Our astrologer is going to actually do a little astrology lesson about what all of these terms are that we hear all the time.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be fun, because I don't know about you, but my eyes kind of like glaze over.
As soon as I find out that Uranus is retrograde, I don't know anything about that for that. So that's about it for me. Like I said last week, last time I was here, I just don't really do the whole astrology thing, but that's a double Aquarius for you. We just don't really believe much in that. But
all right, so we have that. We have an absolutely awesome guest. We have Dr. Alexis Parker.
I just met her earlier. It's great.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yep.
She's going to be talking about reigniting the spark.
Ooh, the spark.
Yeah, and this is probably going to be the be all and end all. Our crafty kitchen witch is going to be making chocolate cherry mead truffles.
I had one of those before the show, and they are fantastic.
Yeah. And so one of the many benefits of coming on the show as part of the studio audience is that we're going to force them to sample some of these truffles.
Yep, I think we should actually have a close-up of each one as they're eating. It was like I said, when I did it, it was like, kind of a oral orgasm right there. Just like it was fantastic.
Yeah, we definitely need to get that on film. It's Drake having an oral orgasm on film.
Okay.
Whoa, when Sally met Sally, or something like that. I don't know. All right. So welcome to the show. If you're watching us live, you already know that you go to ModernPagan.tv and join the show. You can get in the chat room. I understand chat room is going on right now. We'll kind of be monitoring in case people have questions for Dr. Parker later, or you're going to be doing tool time too. I didn't even talk about that.
Well, that's cool.
We're talking about sharp instruments.
Yep, athames.
Athames. So not athames?
Nope, or athames.
Not that. You're not talking about. I thought those. That
there knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got that there knife for, mister? You going to kill something? Yeah, I've had that question many times. We'll discuss how to deal with that. Oh yeah, it's amazing. That's one of the reasons I think a lot of people don't take tools like swords and knives to public rituals as much anymore, because it just really tends to make people nervous, and then like officers show up and ask you why you're waving around knives. And I said there's a little stigma going around the whole knife thing in public rituals. So
oh wow,
yeah, so we'll talk about that a
we'll
little bit there
talk
too.
about that. Yeah, so we'll be monitoring the chat for that. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't joined the show before, go to ModernPagan.tv, and on the bar underneath the headings you'll see join the show, and it'll show you how to do that. You can Skype in, you can text in, so you really can be a part of the show. In fact, next week we have our first international guest.
Wow.
Skyping in from Canada.
Oh, Canada, eh?
Yeah. Yay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm excited. I've been practicing my A's.
Okay, that'll be good. Yeah, because it makes them feel at home, I've heard. Yeah, they really like that. Okay.
All right, so that's great. So let's go ahead. Let's start with our astrology.
Oh, yeah.
lesson.
Well, actually, first off, we need to talk about the fact that this show is being provided to you basically out of the love of the hearts of many, many people, but that isn't enough to keep the electricity on. We're using a heck of a lot of lights and the heat. Yeah. We have no heat here. You'll notice that if you see us actually shaking. We're not nervous. We're actually freezing our patooties off right here.
And the blue doesn't go with the red very well.
No, so we need some donations here. And I'm not going to get in the whole thing of, being like a 700 Club guy, because guess what? All of us who are doing this, we don't get a cent of this. This is just basically to keep the lights on and keep things going. So if you're liking what's happening and you want to be a part of this, make sure to go and donate. How actually do they do that? I know my friend is stationed somewhere. Hi, Tony. I know you're watching this. He's stationed overseas in an unnamed desert, and he did it like a month ago. He donated. He loved the show so much, he donated money. And I want to say hi to any other military people we have watching, because I've actually heard that it's kind of a buzz there too. So the website is
ModernPagan.tv.
ModernPagan.tv.
Donate there.
Yeah, go there and donate. There's probably a donate button
there
on
is,
the right
there
side.
is. On the right-hand side says donate, and you can see it. It's on the screen right there. Nice little yellow buttons.
Yep.
Click right on that little.
And like I said,
right
none of
there.
us are going to take any of this money for our own personal use or, buy fancy suits or anything. Like I said, we do this because we want to share something.
Yeah. Doesn't even pay for the chocolate.
No, we had to. These guys had to buy the chocolate all themselves.
Yeah,
So.
All right.
So we're ready for astrology
so we have
now?
that. So if astrology's up and ready to go, let's learn some of these terms that they throw around that I just nod and say, oh, yeah.
There will be a test later, so take notes.
Oh, take absolutely.
Same communication to feel unspoken voice you can.
Hello, my name is Kat Lundgren, and I'm here with Modern Pagan TV to bring you the description of the astrological wheel. The astrological wheel is a perfect circle of 360 degrees. The wheel is divided into 12 sections of 30 degrees each, which is governed by an astrological sign, such as Aries, and a primary planet that rules that sign. Each of these 12 sections of 30 degrees is divided yet again into 3 segments that consist of 10 degrees each. These segments are called decants, and each of these segments or decant have a planetary ruler that influences that section of the sign. These planetary rulers determine the energetic expression of the horoscope or cosmic map. That is why a person, that is, let's say a Sagittarius, born in November expresses differently than a Sagittarius born in December. Aries, ruled by Mars, first house. The ruler of the first decant from 0 degrees to 10 degrees is Mars. The ruler of the second decant from 10 degrees to 20 degrees is the Sun. The ruler of the third decant from 20 degrees to 30 degrees is Jupiter. Taurus, ruled by Venus, second house. The ruler of the first decant from 0 degrees to 10 degrees is Venus. The ruler of the second decant is from 10 degrees to 20 degrees is Mercury. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Saturn. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, third house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Mercury. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Venus. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Uranus. Cancer, ruled by the moon, fourth house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is the moon. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Pluto. And the ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Neptune. Leo, ruled by the Sun, the fifth house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is the Sun. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Jupiter. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Mars. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, the sixth house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Mercury. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Saturn. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Venus. Libra, ruled by Venus, seventh house. The ruler of the first decant, from 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Venus. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Uranus. And the ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Mercury. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, used to be Mars once upon a time, ruler of the eighth house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Pluto. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Neptune. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is the Moon. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, ninth house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Jupiter. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Mars. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is the Sun. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, 10th house. The ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Saturn. The ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Venus. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Mercury. Aquarius, Uranus is the ruler and is the 11th house. Ruler of the first decant, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Uranus. Ruler of the second decant, 10 degrees to 20 degrees, is Mercury. Ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Venus. Pisces, ruled by Neptune, 12th house. The ruler of the first decant of Pisces, 0 degrees to 10 degrees, is Neptune. The ruler of the second decant, 10 to 20 degrees, is the Moon. The ruler of the third decant, 20 degrees to 30 degrees, is Pluto. You'll notice that for each one of the first decants, the ruler of that first decant is the natural sign ruler. Neptune for Pisces, Neptune in the first decant. Very easy to figure out. My name is Kat Lindgren. For Modern Pagan TV, we'd like to thank you for joining us for a description of the astrological wheel.
I'm chasing twisters.